Movie making is basically a series of huge gambles. Some pay off and some really don't.
All in.
Generally, a movie needs to make back at least twice its budget to be considered a minor success, but if global box office falls below those metrics, producers are going to have a really stressful day. So based on those calculations, let's look at 12 movies that kind of broke the bank. With an estimated budget of between 200 and 220 million, The Flash needed to be a monster hit, but it's currently sitting at less than 100 million domestically and around 250 million internationally, which means Warner Bros. Is looking at a projected loss of around 200 million. Oof. Reception to the movie has been mixed, though trending towards positive, but its controversial star and the fact that returning Batman Michael Keaton was not available to promote the movie much have not helped its performance.
I'm Batman.
What does it say about the landscape of big movie franchises that a new Indiana Jones movie was not a box office juggernaut? And I guess that's for another video. What I can say though is that Indy 5 cost between 200 and 300 million to make and has so far made back around 80 million domestically and 152 million globally. Yeah, not great.
Get back!
Has the series just been going on too long? Possibly. Or maybe it's because of all that expensive on-location shooting.
It's not the years, it's the mileage.
A decent adaptation of an iconic role-playing game with a good cast and positive word of mouth. On paper, this year's Dungeons & Dragons caper should have been a solid hit.
Fantastic. Where's the shovel?
But with a budget of 150 million and a worldwide gross of only 208.2 million, unfortunately, the movie has to be considered a flop for the studio. This is one situation where poor marketing can shoulder a lot of the blame, plus ongoing controversies involving Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast. A shame, because this was a really fun one. Was it bad marketing, bad word of mouth, or superhero movie fatigue that damaged the Shazam sequel? It's hard to say. The original was popular, a breath of fresh air after some more grim, dark DC offerings, but on a budget of at least 110 million, the new movie only made 133 million worldwide. A flop, yes, but sadly for DC, not their worst performer in recent years. James Gunn's 2021 Suicide Squad sort of sequel, sort of reboot had two major things going against it. One, lots of people really disliked the first Suicide Squad. And two, that pesky global pandemic thing, you may have heard of it. And that could explain why, on a $185 million budget, it only made $168 million globally. Ooh, yeah, that's bad.
Is this thing a dog?
What kind of dog do you think it is, mate?
However, the movie did pretty well on streaming and spawned a popular spin-off, and James Gunn is now the God Emperor of the DC universe. So, yeah, a land of contrasts, really. Yeah, there are a lot of DC movies on this list. Don't hate me, I'm just reporting the facts. Like the Suicide Squad, the pandemic did some damage to the Wonder Woman sequel, undermining its box office. Though again, the movie did do well on HBO Max, but with a $200 million budget and global takings of only 169.9 million, along with very poor critical and audience feedback, this outing for DC's Warrior Princess has to be considered a flop. Poor Diana. You know, you deserved better. Remember Cats? Remember that whole thing? Hey, don't worry if you've repressed it. Many people have. Based on a hugely popular musical with an all-star cast including Dame Judi Dench and Taylor Swift, on paper, Cats was a slam dunk. But with grotesque CGI and costume design bringing us some of the most nightmarish images to grace the big screen in recent years, plus James Corden, no wonder audiences did not show up. The movie cost between 80 and 100 million, and it only earned 75.5 million.
Ineffable.
Seriously though, did anybody really expect a weird sort of steampunk Peter Pan reboot to be a monster hit? Whoever agreed to give this project a $150 million budget was asking for trouble, and trouble they got, with a global box office of only $128 million. Between the financial disappointment and the controversy of casting Rooney Mara as Tiger Lily, a real self-inflicted wound there, this is one bomb everyone would probably rather pretend never existed. Hey, see, we cover Marvel bombs too. Fantastic Four was already infamous for its troubled production before release, and the gloomy, incoherent trailers, extensive reshoots, and ugly visuals did not encourage audiences. With a budget of between $120 and $155 million, the movie only made $167 million globally, and the critics and audiences alike tore it to bits. Oh well.
Say that again?
It's fantastic.
Hey, at least it made us remember the Tim Story Fantastic Four movies a little more fondly, yeah. Much like Pan, it's hard to believe that anyone thought a reboot of The Lone Ranger deserved a massive budget. In this case, a frankly insane $250 million according to some estimates. And did it pay off, you ask? It did not. The movie made $260 million worldwide, which, relatively decent, considering the poor word of mouth, the length, and the controversy surrounding Johnny Depp's casting as an indigenous character. But relative to its budget, it was a disaster. When Halle Berry won the Razzie Award for Worst Actress for Catwoman, she graciously went to collect it in person, even taking her Oscar with her. But she can't shoulder all the blame for this movie, which fails on pretty much every level, and it paid for it. On a budget of $100 million, Catwoman made $82 million. Not only that, but it was one of the most infamous and widely mocked flops of the decade. Between this and Cats, maybe movie audiences are just dog people. You might not remember The 13th Warrior, but the movie industry does. Estimates put its budget anywhere between $85 and $160 million, which is absolutely wild for 1999, especially for some random Viking action movie. And it earned only $61 million globally, making it the biggest bomb of the year. Did it deserve to be such a flop? It's okay, it's fine. That's really all you can say about it. Okay, so there's our list of expensive flops, but what about the opposite? Which super cheap movie absolutely killed it at the box office? Figures vary, but the Blair Witch Project is right up there with a budget of only $200,000. It made an incredible $248 million globally. A $200,000 DC superhero movie would be something to see. They should try that, and good luck to them.